Hello and welcome to the Google Zone Google Docs review video. This is going to be a shorter video. It's just going over the very basics of Google Docs and how you as a teacher can use it to your advantage. So from the main Google page, we need to go to the 9.google app drop-down menu, and from here we're going to go to Docs. So Google Docs, think of it as a digital piece of binder paper. It's just an opportunity for you to do a lot of your writing, and this is where a lot of students will be writing all their responses, their essays, their projects, all that kind of stuff. So students can create their own, or they can use some of these templates that are already provided here depending on what type of writing they're doing. I have one sample already made here. It doesn't have anything in it, but this is what your document looks like when you open it. So you're going to have students kind of create their own probably, and then one of the first things you're going to want them to do is to share it with you. Or if they're working with other people, they need to share it with them. So I wanted to start by, now that we've created a new document, how do we share it? So you need to make sure you have a title, something that will explain what's in the document. And then in the upper right hand corner, there's a blue box that says share. When you click on this, you can decide who you want to be able to see or edit your document. So from here, I already have it shared with myself at another email. And so what I did there was I just typed in the email at the top, I selected the person, and it added them below. It's going to tell me I can't do this because that person's already here, which is fine. So this document is shared between these two people. Now, as the owner, I can control who can see the document and what they can do. So maybe I only want them to be able to view it. That means they can read it, but they won't be able to change anything. You can make them a commenter, which means they can't change the actual text, but they can add comments, and I'll show that in a second. Or you can make them an editor. This would be probably if you have two students working together on an assignment, or you as a teacher want to be able to directly change things on their assignment for them. So those are all the different, the three different ways that you can allow someone access. You could make it so that way they only have access for a certain amount of time. You can make them the actual owner, remove yourself from it, or you can just remove them. All of those are options here. But let's say I'm working on, I'm a teacher and I have an assignment that's been turned in by a student, and let's say they wrote, okay. Let's say this was a sentence that I got from a student. Now, as a teacher, I want to immediately jump in and start making changes. But when we do that, we're not allowing them to make the changes themselves. So what we can do is we can comment. And commenting is very similar to when we were in person. We would write notes on the side of a person's paper, maybe highlight or circle things. You can do that here without messing up their work. So the most common feature that I use in Google Docs is the commenting feature. So let's say I have a problem with this sentence. I highlighted it. It's already encouraging me to put a comment. That's what this button here on the right just popped up. It's saying, do you want to add a comment to the section that you've highlighted? I can say, yes, I do. And here, as the teacher, I can say, notice I didn't change their work. I just prompted them to maybe think about it a little bit differently. So I can go ahead and comment. And now my comment is attached to the page where I have the work highlighted. And the student can even click on the comment and notice it highlighted the section that the comment is being talked about. Now, if my student were to open up this document now that I've made this comment, they can see the comment, they can respond to my comment, or they can mark it as done. And you mark it as done by clicking the check mark. It's going to temporarily go away. And so that means I've dealt with the issue. But commenting is the best way to make comments on someone's work without taking over or making those changes yourself. So comments is a really big one for Google Docs. I highly recommend it. The other great thing about Google Docs and all of the Google features really is the history. So at any time, as long as this document is shared with me, I can go up here to where I can click on the version history. So it's going to say last edit made, or it'll say like, I think it says changes saved a minute ago or something like that. But it will always say something but it's underlined, meaning it's a link. When I click on that, it's going to open up a side menu here, and it allows me to go back and see all of the changes that were made to this document. I can go back to this morning. Notice that when I started this at 9:40 this morning, no one had written anything, and so it's blank. Or I can click on the more current one here, and I can see, more recently, specifically at 11:23, this student wrote this. And I know that that student wrote this because when I hover over it, their name pops up. And on the left-hand side here, the color, that teal color next to their name, is the same color as the work highlighted. You can see the entire history of an assignment and specifically who did what. This is great for those group projects when you have that child or that kid that doesn't do anything or that does all the work. If you make this known to them that you as a teacher can go back and see exactly who did what, maybe that will encourage them to be more collaborative in their assignments. But I can always go back to the way that it was at the beginning. So hopefully this is helpful. Again, it's just a digital piece of binder paper. This is usually for typing and for writing. And as a teacher, you can make comments, and as a student, you can share your work with other people to work collaboratively if that's something that your teacher wants you to do. So hopefully this helps with getting set up with the very basics of Google Docs.